Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another one of these Apologetic Empire live stream talk, hangout, and open discussion. So let's go ahead and get started with the brand new intro, which I have to redo because I want to redo the sound on it. But hey, it's still something new, cool, and let's go with it. I still love the art that my father-in-law did for that. It's flipping great. The whole video that he did on free will was fantastic. At least the art style of it. Hey, I was just talking to you on Discord. We'll have to continue our conversation later. I know you want to work with the Islamic group as well as atheism. Maybe wiggle in Jehovah's Witness in there. But okay, so unfortunately, I have no one to join me. I'm sad and all alone so far. We'll give him a little bit. We'll give about half an hour. We'll go ahead and discuss the topic that I did last week since I still have everything up. Okay, so just about since I was cut off, the last stream I did kind of had a bit of an abrupt ending. And the reason why I had a bit of an abrupt ending was, see, I live next to my parents. My mother got rented a backhoe. She was doing some work. And unfortunately, our network is connected to theirs over an Ethernet line that's strung out. She might have split that. So when all of a sudden the live stream died, that's why. Because she just unfortunately killed it. Hey, welcome. So that's why that live stream died last time, is the internet was knocked out by a backhoe. Unfortunately, I was able to fix it. I've got enough wiring skill to be able to fix everything with it, and was able to reconnect it, at least jerry rig until we get something permanent put in. But that's why I'm back. I was really worried there that I wouldn't be able to stream for a couple days. So, and I was like, oh no, of course you did it while I'm streaming. You know, I don't stream I stream at least twice a week now. So I don't normally stream a lot. But of course she did it in the middle of the stream. God's timing, I guess. I don't know. It just seemed like really odd timing just to have that happen right then. She had the backhoe basically all week, and this is the first mistake she made with it. And of course, it was during the stream. If it was beforehand, I could have fixed it. If it was afterhand, I wouldn't have cared. I would have just fixed it just like I did. But no, it was right in the middle. So at least it was just in the Q&A. So luckily, I know enough about Ethernet cables to be able to fix it without any issue. So we're actually using it with my patchwork right now to live stream, and as you can see, it's not too bad, and I forgot to switch to the live stream, so it might be a slightly lower quality than normal. Let me know if it's a bit rougher on your guys' end. Just because I'm doing it over Wi-Fi, I normally connect it, but I forgot in the rush to get ready for this stream and get everything ready to go, I forgot to connect it. So it might be a little bit lower res than normal, but hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. And I'm just happy we have internet again. Because that was fun. I had to climb up on the roof, I had to rewire things, I had to strip back the cable, cut it, strip it, connect it back up, and then wrap it all up with electrician's tape, and there you go. It's working perfectly fine. So what's the topic? I don't have one at this point. No, it's more of a Q&A at this point. Why aren't you on here with me? Gen Z, come back. We're not being political yet. At least I don't think we'll be. There was a question I was asked, I think, last week when I was doing this that I didn't know. The guy that played Black Panther, he has passed away. He's passed away due to cancer. Hey, welcome. Gen Z says it's going to be about 20 minutes. I don't know if I can entertain everyone for 20 minutes by myself, but we'll give it a shot anyway. Why not? So, no, the actor that played Black Panther had cancer. He passed away. Tragic. Cancer's a bad way to go. But as far as my thoughts are on it, I mean, I'm sorry for his family's loss. I don't know if he was saved or not. At this point, it doesn't much matter. He's dead. He's already been sentenced. Sorry if that sounds callous, but he's already been judged. There's nothing more I can do, nothing more I can try to do, other than just comfort his family and give them my best wishes. So that is that. So if you guys do have questions, since my Q&A was cut short when I was doing the what is it? Greek mythology. When I was going through and talking about Greek mythology and how it definitely would have impacted the spread of the early church, how Paul would have been dealing with it and addressing it in his letters that we are still today reading. So I guess if you've got questions, put them in the comments and we'll discuss them until someone comes on. If not, we'll just deal with it. So, yeah, needless to say, Greek mythology is messed up majorly. Oh, well, actually, the Greek family tree was not that terribly complicated until Zeus came along. Let's see if I can. I just don't have that one up because it was just a Google. It's just Wikipedia had the best one, I think. So let's go ahead and switch to the screen. There we go. Okay. So this is just Wikipedia Greek family tree. It's actually pretty accurate. I normally don't like using Wikipedia for stuff, but hey, it works. Can we pray for your mom? Yes, we can. Decobra. Just let me know what's going on, bud, and we'll go ahead and make sure we do that. I'll make sure we do that before the end. And if I've got a couple guests join me, I might ask for their prayers on it as well. I guess on my end, I do need prayers for my mother who just went through knee surgery. Not replacement, but knee surgery. So she had to get some stuff replaced. Some arthritis was there. They removed that. A bunch of fun stuff. So she's up on drugs right now. They had her so high on drugs. So, okay. Basically, if you look at this, it's pretty straightforward until you get to Zeus. Then Zeus just sleeps with everyone. Right here. You see Zeus? He just goes everywhere. Everywhere. Sleeps with everywhere. Needless to say, Greek mythology is not child appropriate at all. I'll say unspoken. Okay, that's fine. That's no big deal. No big deal at all. Yeah, that's an unspecified prayer. That's fine. We'll take care of that towards the end of the stream or in a little bit here. We'll go ahead and take care of that and just pray for that. Lift your mother up in prayer. Okay, so that was Greek mythology. I think we did have a question down here. If I can remember where it was. Private. Oh, right there. Matthew. Let me look that up as reference here. Google. Since I don't have the whole Bible memorized. The rock. I think it's the rock that I'll build the church on. It's Catholic theology. Catholics use that as a statement. And I tell you, Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. So what is the rock in that context? Catholic theology would say that that is Peter. He's actually referring to Peter being the rock. I don't find this to be true. This is inconsistent with his earlier statements that all the apostles are equal, because they were asking, Lord, Lord, can I sit at your right hand? He said, no. No. So I definitely say not specifically talking about Peter. I think he's more talking about apologetics and the ministry there, evangelizing to people. So I'd say that's probably what it is. I don't think that'll be necessary. We can go ahead and just pray about it, because I won't speak about it, of course. But if afterwards you want to give me a call, your mom probably should still have my phone number. My phone number is still the same, since I was a scoutmaster. So yes, they would disagree with me on that, but I don't give rats rear end. I would disagree on quite a few of their practices, primarily saint worship, when it comes down to it. You can check out one for 1 Corinthians. Okay. I will have to check out that later here, because it's a bit of a pain to pull it up. Where's Gen Z when you need him? Pull him back in. He just made a nice Twitter post, and then I realized I was not in the Twitter post. At least, well, to be honest, my wife told me I wasn't in it, because I don't hardly ever check Twitter. I don't like Twitter much. It's a bit of a pain. Okay. Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Hit me up on Facebook, and we'll get that worked out, bud. So you can give me a call and let me know what's going on. So you should be able to just send me a Facebook message, and I can send you my phone number on there. Although I do have a phone number for this apologetics work, actually. I've been wondering if I should just post it so people can give a call. I've seen some apologists do that. I don't know, it can be crazy. Definitely, if you're working with a couple of the groups that I'm working with, we can get carry. So okay, Catholics would disagree. Talking about Catholic belief, a lot of their rituals are actually built off of Roman paganism. So is tombstone Catholic? I don't know. Obviously not. No. Actually, it's really interesting doing a study on that. Maybe I should do a video on Roman Catholic theology versus Roman paganism, because there are some seriously close parallels there that really get kind of scary. Definitely whenever you bring in the different saints and the prayers to the saints, you start seeing a lot of the paganism coming out into that, where it seems like they may have adopted some of that. So Coston. Oh, cool. So am I. Catholic rituals are based off of paganism. Blah. Actually, a lot of it is. You dig into the actual roots of some of the, at least where it's referring to Mary and all the saints. All those are almost directly pulled off of Roman Catholic. I would have to do a deeper study on that. I don't have the evidence right here ready to go. I did not expect this live stream to go that way. But there are a lot of interesting parallels between the two. Now, I think Roman Catholics are incorrect in some of their theology. I wouldn't condemn them for it. I just think that they're wrong about some things. Again, I fully admit, as far as it pertains to God's nature and who he is, I can be wrong, and I can be wrong about a lot of things. So Benjamin is Catholic. That I know. That I actually do know. So I'll have to do a deeper study into that specifically. Not at the moment. Oh, not at the moment. Well, I was wrong. Catholic Orthodox. Orthodox also has their own issues. But then again, any denomination has their issues, I'd say. I was raised in the Foursquare Gospel. When I left the Foursquare Gospel, I learned a few things that they had wrong, not of the salvation level. Not the salvation level. That's key. You got to pay attention to that part, the salvation level itself, but of the more skin level where remember that grace does cover a multitude of incorrect concepts about God. If we're not expected to get it all right. In the future video, can I talk about pirates? What does that have to do with theology? And what are you talking about pirates? Are you talking about the golden age of pirates in the Caribbean, or are you talking like Pirates of the Caribbean, that sort of thing? Or are you talking about like pirating over all of history? Because pirates have always been around. They still are around. They're just not the nicest people. Still definitely in the Middle East. Both denominations are incorrect. And the issue is how much. Because again, there is the theological concrete foundation. And this is going to get so political. Never mind, Gen Z, run away. Never mind. It's too late. It's gone down a path. Okay. So you have the core tenets of Christian doctrine. And then you have the fluff. That fluff can be wrong. And yet the core doctrines can be right. As long as you got those core doctrines right, that's where the matter of salvation really is. So I'm not as familiar with Orthodox as I am Roman Catholic, but I am familiar about some of the stuff they do. Edges on idol worship. But again, that would be more on a personal level, because you can do that. You could make anything into an idol, even if it is. I'd say C.S. Lewis writings were very clear on. I'm not saying that's doctrine at all. C.S. Lewis writings were very much in warning of doing that, creating idols out of things without even realizing it. Okay, so he said Pirates in the Caribbean. What does that have to do with apologetics? If you can make that somehow line up with apologetics. Now, granted, I have a lot of history in my brain. Okay, I have a lot of history up here. So could I throw together something about Pirates in the Caribbean? Yeah, I can talk about the golden age of pirates. That's easy. You got Blackbeard. You got a bunch of other ones. Handful. Only one of them. I'm not going to name them here, but only one of them did survive. He was the only successful pirate. And that's because he basically stole one ship and ran. Got his butt out of there. Everyone else died horribly. So that's what I'm talking about. I don't think there's a apologetic twist I could put on that. And believe me, I've bent over backwards to put apologetic twists on things that I want to talk about. But I don't know yet. Whew, that is way too... Go to bed! That's way too late. It's way too late. Go to sleep. Okay. Oh, I got you. So you're Orthodox. Maybe I'll have to talk to you about it. Get some understanding on it. Can you talk about the Bible stories? My microphone's over here. Can you be a little bit more specific? because the Bible's big. There's a lot of Bible. And I do have an obvious baby distraction afterwards. I was planning on doing my last video, but unfortunately, internet wasn't working, and I ended up on the roof for hours trying to fix it. So, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Noah. Great story to tell your kids. Yeah. Noah, the whole world flooded, everyone died, but Noah survived. Paint the screaming kids over there. I love, Stephen Hawkins. The comedian's portrayal of that one. That's fantastic. So Moses bringing the kids out of, the children of God out of Egypt. That's always an interesting one. Actually, more interesting, I find the invasion of Palestine to be much more interesting from a tactical standpoint. Just because it makes no sense. If God wasn't there, it'd make no sense at all. In fact, it wouldn't be even relevant in any way, shape, or form. So, Moses did set down quite a bit. Of course, he walked with the Lord for many years, but he was a murderer. He did murder people in cold blood a couple of times before he got to the burning bush, before he repented. He did commit murder. So, yeah, he didn't come from a clean past. In fact, if you look back at the entire Bible story and the genealogy of Jesus, you don't get a clean genealogy. You get incest, you get prostitution, you get all the fun stuff. Not as crazy as the Greek gods, mind you, but there was still that aspect of it. Just because humans are messy, and God didn't clean it up. He said, "Here you go, right here." The Greek gods themselves were quite messy. God was never messy. It's the humans he was working with that were quite disastrous. Such as, again, Moses made his fair deal of mistakes, including striking the rock out of anger, which was not the way God intended him to strike it. So he got punished. I think the reason why it was such a severe punishment was because of his position more than anything else. Because he was in such a high place of honor. And he's supposed to have listened to the Lord all the time. And it's like, yeah, you're like the example. So I can't let this slide. So. Any other questions that is going on? History, science. Jericho. Oh, those were a fantastic place. Let's talk about that. That's fine. Jericho. Not the video. I want the city. So Jericho. There we go. That's a good depiction of it. I cannot pull that up. Oh, well, I had that nicely. Okay, well, let's see if I can do this at least. Okay, depiction of Jericho. Fantastic. You did have an outer wall. You had an inner wall. And it was a well-fortified city. In fact, according to those times, those were city-states that you would have been Israel would have been dealing with when it walked into the promised land, would have been city-states. And they warred among themselves constantly. How do you know that? Well, we know that they had weapons. We know that there are documented cases of them warring. On top of all of that, we know they're very experienced in war, because you don't build defenses like this if you're dealing with peasants. You don't do an exterior and an interior wall unless you're expecting your exterior wall to be penetrated at least once. So, yeah, it didn't make any sense. As far as a bunch of desert rats taking it over without God's power. Completely independent of God. Makes no sense. So, the walls fell. I mean, that's about it. I don't think there's much more I can talk about Jericho. Unless you want to talk about the TV show, and I've never seen the TV. Well, no, I didn't see the TV show. We were going to watch it, and then we didn't. And it was years ago. So, okay. Attacked by flies too much. So, any other questions here, since I am the only one here? Such as life. Do another shout out here. Oh, I do have a mention for you guys. There we go. Okay. My wife is actually working on a piece of art. It's fantastic. No, Miguel said no. Oh, Miguel. I liked you. Okay. So my wife is doing some work, and let me do a little bit of a sneak peek if I can. I don't know if she uploaded that yet. So it is actually on What Do You Mean? So John McCrae, she did him as part of her Apologetic Empire group. So that is. She's not uploaded. She hasn't uploaded anything in a while. She's kind of nervous because it's like, I don't know how the algorithms work anymore. It's going to be weird because sometimes they punish you for not uploading constantly like I do. So, okay. So this is her channel. New backdrop. You see David Wood there. You see vocab. You see Jesus as Woody. Her Joy storybook skit thing that she did. And you got a new one right here. So that one's coming soon. I'm pretty psyched about that one coming out. She has been working on it forever. And then she has Mr. Phil Fox that she is working on his next, or eventually. I don't know. This is coming soon sometime whenever it's finished. And Mr. Phil Fox is coming as well. But we convinced her to I convinced her to do normal art again. She was trying to do something new and fancy. So let's go ahead and actually take care of this right now, DeCobra. Let's go ahead and just lift your mother up in prayer before we continue. We'll see if anyone else joins in the next couple of minutes. If not, I'll call it quits at about half an hour. So, okay. So you did want this to remain anonymous. More than respect that. Please be in an attitude of prayer. Lord of heaven and earth, we just lift up DeCobra's mother. I ask for your hand to be upon her. She has had a hard life. She's had to fight to obtain everything that she has gotten. I just pray that you would give her peace in this time, whatever they're going through. Give them the reassurance that can only come through you, the confidence that can only come through you, and the peace that passes all understanding. Lord, I just pray that you would open their eyes and see how you are working through the situation. How you turn every bad situation into good. How no matter how dark it gets, your light will shine through. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. The name above all names. Amen. So I hope that your mother gets better. We'll keep her in our prayers personally. My family will. And I'll definitely talk to you over Facebook or give you my phone number on there. Actually, before I forget, let me pull up Facebook. Just keep it in the back of my memory so I can remember to send you my number and stuff. Fantastic. Okay. So, any other topics? I guess follow up with Kyle. They've still going through the process. I mean, he's got no recourse except going through the process. That's got to be horrible on anyone, just to keep going through that. Be center of media attention, and then on top of that, have this obviously clearly self-defense situation where he was forced into this, blown up, and you to be accused of murder. So there's also that shooting in Portland where the Antifa member shot in cold blood a Trump supporter. And the video literally was, we have a Trumper, the guy gets shot. Execution style. It's that simple. The perpetrator of that did get shot by police and died. He is now being glorified in the Black Lives Matter movement as another unjustified shooting, except that he was shooting at cops. So, yeah. He murdered someone in cold blood and then turned around and then started shooting at cops and died because of it. And for some reason, he is a saint for it. So I did get a couple of people. Space said he'll be on in about a minute. He's helping his dad with plumbing. Oh boy, that's always fun. My parents owned a few properties and we had to do all the work ourselves growing up. So it was always so much fun. So much fun. No, it wasn't. So, okay. Any other questions here? If they don't join on pretty soon, I might just have to quit out. Step down and let the world continue on this path of insanity. I didn't. And so, the body armor that's hanging up behind me. And I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago all the stuff that I got for that and how I designed it. We did finally get, I think, the last piece of the set. Oh, this thing is flipping heavy. So there you go. This is a level 3 ballistics helmet. Pick that one up. Nice, fancy, heavy. Got some serious weight to it. But that is the last piece to that set that I have. The Cobra says house chat. Oh, come on, buddy. We don't pull up that black history. That dark road I used to go down. I used to do video games. It was, what was it? Lucy Wants to Play or something like that. Some horror game with dolls. It was freaky. I could never get it right. So, okay. So let's go ahead and do my obvious baby distraction from the last time I did my live stream that didn't work out as well as I was hoping. But let's go ahead and show you guys that.
Güney.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There Okay, so that was a cute little distraction while that was going on. Bought me a little bit of time. Tombstone Jarhead says, try wearing that equipment for 7 months in foreign country. Yes, I do wear it, go out walking with it every day. So I walk mile in it every day. It's heavy. It's heavy. It takes a lot of endurance to use. But the crap hits the fan, it's going to be nice that I'm used to using it. In that case, yeah, you guys had to use it in those situations. So yeah, it's heavy. I think the vest goes, 20 pounds by itself with the plates in it. And then you got the helmet, which is another 7 pounds. So not including all the additional stuff I've got on there, including the water, ammo, all the fun stuff. It makes it really, really heavy. Yeah, take it. I got stopped by the cops not too long ago. Don't know if you guys were joining me during that live stream where I talked about that. Basically, someone, which is odd because I live in the middle of nowhere. Someone freaked out and called the cops. This is what I was looking at the time. I didn't have the helmet yet. But I was doing everything legal. I was following all the legal laws and regulations in that case. He asked me, are you a prepper? I'm like, it's 2020. Do I need to explain anything other than that? That was the end of that conversation. It's like, it's 2020. I'm not putting anything past this year at this point, considering I had no clue it was going to go this crazy this quickly. So someone would tell me at the beginning of this year they were going to have a pandemic, that the government was going to be shut down. Everything was going to get shut down for 2 weeks. Everyone would have to wear masks. Everyone would have to. It's the law. You have to wear masks. Stupid stuff, but yes. And then on top of that, we're going to have mass rioting. So not related to the mask part. Completely separate from the mask and the pandemic. Oh, I would have thought you were nuts. I would have thought you were smoking something. But no, it's been crazy. It's been absolutely nuts crazy this year. So yeah, taking precautions. Again, I would encourage all you guys to take those precautions. Now that I have got all the equipment and I'm actually able to test it out myself, I can then post the spreadsheet on the Discord for everyone to look up and get their own equipment if such is needed, if they want to. And I would recommend it because self-defense is good. Do look up your laws and regulations for your area and then get used to wearing it. It's not the most comfortable thing, but get used to wearing it because you don't want the first time you're ever wearing it to be when you need it. So Yeah, they've tried that before. I don't remember what state you're in. I know they tried it in one state and it just did not work. The police would not enforce it because it's flipping retarded. So that's why it'll be 20 years, 20 in, I'll be 20. Okay, I'll be 20 in 30, in 3 years. In 30 years, you'll be 20. Oh, man. Are you serious? Man, I feel old. I feel old. I remember when you were a little kid. I remember when you were a little kid. Oh, I feel like old. I need to go get my walker. I need my walker. Hey, welcome. Do I support any regulations on guns? No, I don't. At least, well, let me think. Do I support any regulations on guns? As far as restricting people from having it, or restricting any sort of gun type from people from having it, I don't think so. If you're talking about if you've got a violent felon history, yes. At that point, you have given up your right to own a gun. Just because in your past you've been quite prolific with your violent felonies. If you've got a felony that's non-violent, I'd say that's borderline. I know right now, at least in Ohio, if a gun owner even smells an issue with you having it with you at all, if you're acting specific, suspicious, my gosh, I can't talk anymore. If you're acting odd, they have the right not to sell to you. In fact, they just ask you to leave. Graduating a year, fantastic. Hey, come on and jump on. So no, as far as gun regulation, no. I think we should be able to regulate ourselves. Whenever you give away any power, know that your enemies will use it to their advantage. So, no, concealed carry, I don't even like the requirements there on concealed carry. I think it should be a bit more easygoing. I understand why they are where they are. And even if I disagree with them, I can see the points and I can be persuaded. People don't regulate themselves. That's the problem. Well, the problem is, then why do you think the government would be any better when it's all built out of people? Are we discussing politics? No, they just ask about gun laws. If I supported any. They say, no, I do not. I think the people have the freedom to have the guns. I think a well-armed populace is a great deterrent. In fact, that's deterred invasion previously into the United States. That's why we have Midway. So, I don't know. As soon as Gen Z gets on, maybe we'll just dive into politics real deep. No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. It's just Q&A at this point. I think we do have the right to defend ourselves. I did do a video on if Christians should defend themselves. My stance still is I'm a father. I have the responsibilities. Would Jesus carry a gun? Why? If you believe God is all powerful and you believe that Jesus is God, then why the flip would he? It's like, why would a soldier like, I just don't get why he would carry something so weak compared to what he already has. As far as us, we do have the right to defend ourselves, and we should do so. Definitely unbelievers. Defend unbelievers to the death. Definitely. Yeah, we do. As far as self-defense, I do go in depth with it as far as biblical references. I'll give you the synopsis right now. if it comes down to them shooting me, not a big deal. If it comes down to them shooting someone else that I don't know if they're saved, that's a big deal. Well, when we're talking about Jesus, he's already got it. I mean, he does tell them to go buy swords, which is their guns of that age. So Jesus kind of does, but if you want to try to preach pacifism here, there's no biblical evidence for that. It's not extreme pacifism. There are times to turn the other cheek, but if it comes to self-defense, you can defend yourself. In fact, it's quite clear. You said you're logging on. It's taking a little bit of time to log on, but there we go. Just stay in. There you are. Lo and behold, he pops in. Hey, welcome back.
Hey.
So I did just get a question. Maybe you can take a look at this one as well. Would Jesus, I'm assuming that's what he suggests his disciples carry a gun?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with your answer. I personally don't really have a good answer to that. I'm not a pacifist. I'm not a pacifist. I believe in self-defense as I hope everyone believes in self-defense. Otherwise, which kind of weird if you didn't, because you'd think, nah, I'm just gonna let somebody rob me or kill me. So I think everybody believes in self-defense. So no, I'm not a pacifist, but I don't really have a good answer. But I think I think you gave a good answer.
Okay, so Spartan says, no, I'm no pacifist, just asking. Okay, that's fine. Asking is fun. Asking is fantastic. Asking is always allowed. Absolutely. I think the Bible verse that most people will point to is where Jesus is saying, if you pick up the sword, you'll die by the sword. In that context, he was talking to Peter, which was a fisherman, and he was threatening a soldier with a sword. A soldier which is part of the Roman legion, which was like the Green Berets of their time. And he's threatening him with a sword. A fisherman, Green Beret, I'm going to take the Green Beret, personally. So, you see something down there? He says, I support more gun laws for sure. I think what we have in America is nuts. Let me ask a question then. What would you say is required for more? We'll let you answer that one. To protect us from the government, yes, that is the original intent of the Second Amendment. After all, just look at the what the founding fathers just did before they wrote that. They just defended themselves against a tyrannical government that was ruled by a nuts man. And King George was crazy. He liked stopping his carts to get out and talk to his cousin on the side of the road. But then when his courtiers looked, it wasn't his cousin, it was a tree. And King George just sit there and talk to him. So, yeah, he was nuts. So, yeah, if you want to give me an example of what more gun laws would you say are a good idea? We'll go on and explore that. But Gen Z is like, I didn't sign up for this. I specifically waited and then jumped on here when I thought it was safe. And then this happened. Don't look at me. It's the flipping discussion, okay? It's them in the chat. It's not my fault. I'm just responding to them. I don't know. Maybe what we'll do in the meantime so we can get rid of this political concept. More background checks, better database for sure. Oh, right there. As well as requiring a license for any semi-automatic long gun. Oh, thank God he actually added that. Maybe you actually know what the flip you're talking about. Because they use the fully automatic semi-auto gun. I'm like, that doesn't exist. You can go ahead and regulate that out the wazoo because it doesn't exist. Semi-automatic long rifle. So that would be very specific. So I disagree with you. I'd say that that's not the intent of the Second Amendment at all. As far as more background checks, dude, have you ever bought a freaking gun? It takes forever. They run background check with the national database. Do you think a government can do better than their national FBI database? Because if you're saying they can do better, I don't think you understand how government works. Although if you're bringing up the fact that they need to talk more internally, I might be able to agree with you with that. Because let's be honest, the government doesn't talk to itself very well. Okay, Space, come on in.
Hello.
We got you in here. I'm going to look up something real quick.
Especially since we're talking about gun control and all that, I would like to give you the example of where I live, Idaho, as an amazing example of guns being perfectly fine when they're pretty much unregulated. We don't require concealed carry licenses anymore or anything. Like you can have.
I'm moving.
Whatever. Yeah.
I'm moving to Idaho now.
And we're pretty much some of the lowest crime there is.
Oh, well, the thing with that is if everyone were to carry.
Oh, we're something like 50% gun ownership here.
Actually, you know what? I will say, I know you said, stop. Okay, that's fine. I did want to throw in one last thing. As far as any sort of law requirement that I would agree with, as far as it goes with guns, when you turn 18, you go for the ability to vote and sign up for the draft. You should also have to go through gun training, basic gun training.
I would say that's a fair enough.
That would be the only law I would agree with. Is you've got to go, you've got to shoot, you've got to go to a range. You've got to get used to firing. You don't have to own a firearm. I mean, that's the last. That's the thing honestly, you can do.
Though, like, I don't think learning how to use a gun better will stop you if you want to commit a crime. If anything, it would just help.
No, what I'm talking about is the people that wouldn't commit a crime who would be defending themselves, or the people who would make regulations that would require undue stress on people that are just trying to defend their families. So that I think Steven Crowder did a great example with that one. He basically took a couple ladies who've never handled guns to a shooting range, taught them how to shoot, and changed their opinions on it. So,
yeah.
11.
How high is the Texas crime rate when it comes to guns?
Not high, actually.
It sounds like you're just in a bad area, if I'm honest, because most crime is caused by low income areas.
Well, he's not saying that there's crime.
Oh,
he's just saying that there's shooting every day.
Do you live next to a gun range?
I hear gunshots all the time. I hear gunshots all the time. I live out in the middle of nowhere. I hear gunshots all the time. Half the time, it's me.
But if he does live in a suburb or something, then it's more likely that it's just a bad area, like a low income area. Because most gun crime still happens just between gangs.
If you're talking about
like 90% of the gun crime, right?
There, you've got a large majority as far as self-defense goes. Now, he's talking specifically about long rifles, semi-automatic.
Oh, like ARs?
AR-15s? I guess so. That would be where I would assume he's going with that, although there are quite a few of them that aren't ARs. In fact, I can think of quite a few off the top of my head, but shouldn't carry about all.
Oh, we should, but that doesn't change gun crime. Like, just because we care about an area more doesn't mean.
Well, are you saying
that's a weird thing, because that has more to do with regulation compared to like Christian theology.
I know as far as regulations where you can shoot, I know if it's not self-defense, it's illegal to fire. If you're just shooting at targets, it's illegal within city limits in some cities, and those are set by the mayor. That would be something you'd have to bring up with them. And I don't mind that. I don't mind if you're saying, well, in this area, you really shouldn't be shooting. We don't want the noise pollution here. You can go shoot at a gun range. You can go shoot at out in the country. You can go to other places and do it. That's fine. You can own and carry. That's fine. But
and no, I'm not saying poor people are dumb criminals. I'm saying that low-income areas have a tendency to result in all sorts of, how do I put this? Low-income areas have a lack of opportunity, and therefore people will more often turn to crime.
Well, if you're desperate, you're going to turn to crime.
Yeah, exactly. If you're more likely to be desperate, you're more likely to commit crime.
It's not that they're poor. I know good poor people.
How can we change that? Well, we are. We're getting rid of unemployment. We're slowly putting money back into low-income areas. This is something that takes time. It's not. I wouldn't say that gun regulation is at fault. It's just the government doesn't like to put money into poor areas.
Now that comes to question of, as far as that question, it does come down to economics. As far as our way of handling it, capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty in the last 10 years than the rest of the world.
I mean, look at like what's it called? England. They aren't allowed to carry knives around. You know what they do? They carry around acid. If people want to hurt people, they won't need a gun. They won't need a knife.
Cain did not need a gun to kill Abel. If they really want to cause harm, it will. The only people that are going to follow any sort of gun laws, by the way, are the law-abiding citizen who wouldn't be doing the crime. He says getting guns off the street would help.
That's what I was trying to respond to.
Yeah, like you said, if you get, and we see this in the UK. In fact, it's a perfect example why gun laws do not work in the UK, because they removed guns. They said no guns at all, and then they had amazingly high stabbing rates. Now they're dealing with acid. No matter what happens, if people want to harm other people, they will find a way to do it. The only thing
is also the fun.
The only thing like gun regulations will do is rob the law-abiding citizens of a way to defend themselves.
Yeah, another one is the fun little statistic where something like 80% of gun crimes are committed with unregistered and illegal guns.
In that case, you can't really do much about it.
Yep.
Because they're going to get those guns no matter what. I mean, if you outlaw all of them, they're already illegal. That's like in Ohio. One of the laws, when I looked up about plate body armor, like the one I have back there, it is illegal to commit a crime while it's illegal to commit a felony while wearing body armor. Is that going to stop any person from wearing body armor while committing a felony if they're already dead set on committing the felony? You think that's going to stop anyone? No. They're going to still do it. It's just something for them to legally throw on there afterwards.
Oh.
I just checked the private chat. So, okay. So, the Cobra, you're right.
7% of people who are during a survey, this one, it says 7% have purchased their gun from under their own name from a licensed firearm dealer. So I'll post this in the comments real quick.
Sure.
It's a fun little survey.
If not, I don't know if you can. One moment.
I can try.
Put something in the. What's your name under there?
I'm just throwing it.
Okay, because it might block you. Put something in the. What's your name under there?
Brendan Brown. I'm just throwing it. Can you see it?
I cannot.
Okay.
Throw in the private chat.
Yeah.
And I'll throw it in there because I normally don't let people share.
That makes sense.
Because I don't want any garbage getting out there.
Yes, that's from the Bureau of Justice. It's a
fantastic
report.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Yep. So an estimated 287,400 prisoners had possessed a firearm during their offense. Among those, more than half had either stolen it, found it at the scene of the crime, or obtained it off the street from an underground market. Most of the remainder had it from a family member, a friend, or as a gift. 7% have purchased it under their own name from a licensed dealer.
Hey, servant of Christ, welcome.
Hello.
Gun laws, actually. It's a fun way that this is turned. Poor Gen Z jumped in here to actually talk, and then it's like, it got political.
Gun crime. What happened to him?
He normally doesn't want to jump in with political stuff.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. If you've ever bought it from dealership, there's a lot of background checks. If something smells wrong about you, they will deny you. I remember a reporter from, I think it was CNN, back when they were pushing for gun laws and gun regulation, was trying to go in and buy a gun from a gun store. And he was acting weird. He was acting weird because he was extremely nervous while recording. He was doing it secretively, recording, and he was acting weird. And the guy's like, no. And
I'm not comfortable selling you a gun.
It's like there's something not right here. They did a background check, and way back when he was actually investigated for physically abusing. So they said, no. You have a violent past. No. We're going to have to say no on this.
Yep.
And they called up all the other dealerships and let them know not to sell it to him.
Gotcha.
So even though he went to multiple ones, he wasn't able to buy it because everyone would say, no, you can't. So I think again, going back to what the Cobra said, it really is the truth. It's not so much a gun issue. It's a heart issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's the heart of man. We are corrupt. We will harm each other. Let it be with a gun, a knife, or a stone. We've just made it a lot more convenient, I guess. Although that's what blows my mind whenever I'm listening to these people who are putting forth these laws. A lot of them, not all of them. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are feminists. And just look at it and say, why on earth are you doing this? Women should carry. If anything, women should carry more than guys should, in my opinion. Because guys are physically strong. We are built genetically for that. I was getting this stuff from me and my wife, all this different body armor, different belts, tactical belt, body armor, all this stuff, the helmets, everything. And something I realized when she's putting these things on is, one, her hips are a lot higher than mine are.
Yeah.
Significantly so. I'm
Legs.
like, oh, wait. And I looked it up. That genetically, even the bone structure between men and women are drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I did not. I'm sorry. I know I learned that there were differences, but bone structure.
It's not till you stand side by side and compare.
Yeah, it's like, or try to put on the same set of armor. It's like bone structure is completely different. I'm much wider in my chest than my wife is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I need a completely different type of body armor for a different type of plate for my suit than my wife does.
Yeah.
So, but that all saying, there are differences between men and women. Men are made to do physical combat. We really are. We were built for physical labor, physical combat. That was part of the fall. And due to that, we can, on average, again, talking about averages, not talking about individual
There are
cases.
exceptions.
There are always exceptions. Men will be able to outbeat women with upper body strength. Women can beat men in lower body strength, but upper body strength, where most of the fighting happens, most of the power in a fight happens in the upper body.
Mm-hmm.
Guys have a real big advantage. That's why you see these transgender men who compete in men's competitions before claiming to be the other gender suck, and they're like in the lowest rank, and then as soon as they switch to the other gender's category, they steamroll it.
It's 220. That's good.
Yeah. So
I got how many? I got something like, how many kilos did I end up getting? I'm not sure how that translates to pounds. I think I was like 108 times. Yeah, my highest squat is a back squat at 235, but that was like a half a year ago, so I'm nowhere near as good no more.
I've been hitting the gym trying to get better, and I'm still not that good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just haven't got the time really.
Okay, my defense, I'm a computer programmer.
Yeah.
So this right here is like what I do 90% of the day. So unless I go out to the gym, this is it. I've never been one to really enjoy the gym. Luckily, my brother is. So he kicks my butt. He's
Going
like,
back, though,
it's my young brother.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Going back though to Spartan theology stuff, but shouldn't Christians care about all areas? Yeah, we're just saying that it isn't gun control that'll help those areas. It's economic factors and Jesus.
Yeah. I think that would change. That would be more than anything else. Said personally never bought a gun.
Yeah.
Well, you're also a little young for being able to purchase a gun. Yes, you can have it passed down to you. You can have it through your grandfather.
Oh yeah, you're way better at fencing than me though. 195, I can't do that.
Yeah, no.
I think mine was like,
jeez,
what was mine at? 80 or so?
Kick my butt now, little boy. I remember.
Yeah, I think my highest bench was about 175.
I could pick you up, but
yep. Back then, back when I used to work out, my highest bench was about 175. We did it all in kilos, so I have to translate it over now.
So, bench 95. Okay, that's, I guess, as far as gun control, that's my opinion on it. Again, there's only one law that I would agree with. That is more training for everyone, including the cops. I think the cops should get a lot more training.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of weird how they just send them off, like they give them maybe a week or something.
What's crazy about it is you got soldiers, right? That train and train and train and train and then get shipped out for a line of service, come back, train, get shipped out. Mm-hmm. You don't get that with cops. I would be they got this whole defund the police. I'm like, no, they need to have an increase in funding in order to get more training.
I don't know about increase in funding. I think just better budgeting.
Well, I'd like to see at least one day that officers every day have to spend at least 8 hours at a range. get used to that as well as something that would be more self-defense oriented as far as hand-to-hand combat goes.
Yeah, and I think that quotas on crime, like, you know how police officers just have to hit a quota. I mean, I know it's a defense for like so that cops don't just go around and like don't report any crimes, but I think a quota is scummy.
No, quota's not right at all. Because then if you don't meet your quota, you have to go make up things, and that's not right. So you have wrestle now. Wow, nicely done. Nicely done, bud. I can definitely tell that by how much you're benching, how much you squat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you'd pin me without any issue.
Oh yeah, he would knock me out.
So no, going back to the whole handguns originally were called the Great Equalizer for a reason.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, no matter how strong your opponent is, a bullet will go through them.
Unless you're really, really big and you can just muscle through it. I don't know, man. You shoot a
maybe
sumo
9mm.
Hit like a sumo wrestler. I think they could take it out. They could take one.
Maybe, but fat doesn't really add too much resistance.
I mean, but they're all. You have to consider how much muscle they got in them. Sumo wrestlers have like.
That's true. I guess it would be a question. It would be a good question. You know, how much muscle would you need to stop a bullet?
Like,
and what type of bullet?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking like a 22 or something.
Because if you're talking 22, and then you've got hollow points.
Yeah. No, so, you can't. You ain't gonna stop a deagle or anything, but.
No, you wouldn't stop my deagle. Not at all.
Yeah, once I hit 21, I'm probably buying a deagle myself. Those things are just cool guns.
Oh, I forgot my deagle's out in the car. I took it down to where I go shooting.
Yeah. So. Deagles are just beauty. Maybe revolver. I don't know.
Nice. Heavy duty though. You need some. It takes a lot to control that bugger. The fall-off shots are.
I'm a strong man. I can take it.
Hey,
Mr. Phil Fox.
Mr. Phil Fox.
How you been?
Good. My wife's looking at doing your art. She's looking, getting started. She's finishing up. What do you mean? She doesn't know I'm plugging it, so I'm plugging. I'm really excited. It looks. What do you mean? Looks fantastic. We sent him some of the images already. He really likes it. John McRae really likes it.
Yeah, so you're working. Are you like working with him or what?
My wife is. She's done art for What Do You Mean? She's done art for vocab. We've had vocab on here.
Really?
We've done work with, and she did David Wood.
Oh,
so
really?
she started off with David Wood's one, and actually I will pull that up because I am a husband that's very proud of my wife, and I will shamelessly plug her wherever I can. So I have no shame in that.
Me and Coda are in the same situation here too.
This is my wife's video here channel. She's got all of her art now up on top there, and you've got the premiering soon section. That's What Do You Mean section.
You got that original Alien movie graphics going on right now.
I guess so. Wow. I didn't even think of that. So she did one for Robbie Zacharias. And here's a vocab. So she does the art and then does a video to that. That's fantastic. So she's got one for Mr. Phil Fox. She's got one coming up for What Do You Mean? So that'll be all three of them finished. Which is fantastic. We've been in contact with vocab and What Do You Mean? Not so much David. Not so good at responding on Patreon.
Shocking.
The other two are fantastic. So
yeah.
And they, of course, they get all the rights to it.
Of course.
So they have full capability of having it. Don't worry about it. She just want to make sure that everything was good with it. As long as it's all good, we're fine. It's just she wants to double check and make sure that everything's okay. She don't want to give you something and be like, "Oh, it's great. I'll certainly use this. Give me the trash." No, but whoever she gives it to, she does get full rights to, so they can do whatever they want with it. So I will be right back if you give me a second.
Like how he mutes himself halfway through the. Yeah, Coda Boyd. I'm similar situation. I'm getting better, but I feel you.
Okay, sorry about that. Bit of a miscommunication on that end. Haha, yes, funny. So, okay. So I think that's about it for the topics. Let's see. Coming up this week, what do I got this week? I got I need to post the links for the stream. This Friday, 9/11, I will be doing a special video on, of course, the religion of peace. Let's remember what what happened. And keep that in mind. This Sunday, I think we also have. I'm doing the wonderfully, perfectly preserved Quran.
I haven't heard about that. Tell me, what's so special about that? What's weird about this perfect book? There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing. Definitely none of their apologists are now saying that there are some serious holes and we shouldn't talk about it. So, and of course, next week
I especially like their morality in that book. It makes me all fuzzy and warm.
Yes, as the blood drains from my body.
Makes me practically euphoric as I'm slowly losing my lifeblood.
Nice red shots. Okay.
He's talking about your shorts.
Ah, gotcha.
Though it is funny because I am wearing red shorts and I was confused for a second.
Oh yeah, I got red shorts on. I forgot. Showed off when I stood up and had to go dress something. So.
Michelle Turner coming on Sunday talking about the biblical role of women in the church. Ooh, that's interesting. I like that.
Very interesting. I did a while back a video on women pastors, but that's been forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I revisit some of my old topics?
I don't know. I find it because like with feminism, it is like one of those like, you're oppressive to women. So it is to go over. It's good to keep going over that stuff just so they can.
Well, the YouTube algorithm pushes it to the back and be like,
of course.
we won't pull that up anymore. I mean, I just redid my free will video and released that one that my father-in-law did fantastic art for.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that one. And that was one that I did years and years ago, and it kept getting traction. Of course, we always have such fun comments under there.
From whom?
Everyone. Everyone gives fun comments. Let's see here. Actually, I'm going to pull this one up and might as well address it right here with you. Okay.
It's
zoom in.
Maybe it'll be readable.
Zoom in. There we go. Okay.
You'll just have to read it off with me. Well, read it off to me because I can't see through that.
There are laws of nature, as such, are discovered by science. So there is no such thing as free will or the freedom to do anything. Also, there's nature versus nature. Our genes and our environment play a part in shaping human behavior.
That's a fun one actually, because inspiring for us. You know how inspiring? I got that little stutter.
Inspiring philosophy.
Yeah. He's doing the neuroscientific evidence thing. One of the most interesting things he went over to me was how no matter how much like scientists stimulate their brain, they couldn't change like someone's like will. Like if they didn't want, like they could make them move their arm, but they couldn't make them think a certain way. Couldn't make any thoughts go through their head or something. That was all entirely dependent on them.
Yeah, I think it's a lot deeper than we give. Now, the whole natural laws concept.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, I guess my question would be, who says those are even right? By what authority are those put into play? I mean, those are the sort of questions in Christianity we have our laws given to us by God and backed up by His authority.
Yeah.
To say there's no free will, it's funny looking at his comment, knowing that he wrote that within his own free will.
Yeah.
Well, he's saying someone put a gun to his head to write it. So,
Coda, I don't think you understand how similar of a situation we were in. I started like going out to lunch with this gal, and then like a week later, she told me like, I just got a boyfriend.
dude, no, don't mess with it.
Yeah, I'm just chilling. We're still friends, but
yeah, as far as dating wise goes, if she's actively dating you at the same time she's currently dating someone else,
no, we just
if
go
she's
out, watch, eat, and have fun together, friendly.
Well, that's different.
Not romantic.
But just be aware that if there's someone willing to cheat with you on someone,
yeah,
they'd be also willing to do the same thing to you.
Yeah, no, she's nice, so I don't expect her to be doing that.
I was mostly talking to the Cobra.
Yeah.
So, I never liked dating. Dating sucked.
Says the man who's married.
Yes, it's so much better. So much better. I hear that all the time from the from the atheist group. Just love and be free. I'm like, dude, dating's a nightmare. Dating is horrible. Oh, get a wife. Then I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to.
Then you're bound by God to have a good time together.
It's like, okay, I'm required, and I don't. No, I am divorced. I was previously married.
Really?
Yeah, I was married at 21, divorced by 21. So, a very abusive relationship. I won't go into all the details right now, but she left and decided she wanted to get a divorce. So, at that point, it's like, okay. No, but I do believe that you got to work your butt off for it, and I did work my butt off in that situation, but still it wouldn't help. It doesn't work so well if you're the only one building a bridge.
Of course.
In a relationship. It just doesn't work. Definitely if the other one's just down there knocking it over.
Trust is a two-way street. Love and trust are two-way streets.
Hey, welcome.
Hello. Daruski.
I'm glad you said that because I would have butchered it.
Daruski.
I am horrible.
I can't roll my R's well enough to do it, but I can get close enough.
So, yeah, dating, don't date, court. That's my advice.
I don't know the difference.
Courting is you're intending to get married.
So it's just dating with long-term intention.
Yes, basically.
Yeah, that's what I plan. That's just regular dating for me.
I think, was it like the second or first? No, it's the second or third date that I just told my wife straight up, I intend to marry you or I won't continue this relationship.
Yep.
It would waste your time. It'd waste my time. No point in doing it.
I feel you.
Because we aren't going to have sex until we're married. So we aren't going to be fooling around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a nightmare. Believe me. Wait until, I know it's the controversial thing to say. Wait until after you're married.
Before marriage does not have typically good consequences. I can't believe it.
It doesn't at all. It can be a pain.
Mm-hmm.
You either end up with a broken family, and even if you are the most upstanding individual and take care of your kids, your girlfriend might not be.
Yeah.
I know it's an issue my cousin's in, actually. And my cousin was in a wayward boy and then young man. And as soon as he had those kids, man, he straightened up.
Gotcha.
He straightened up something serious. And I mean, I got some serious respect for him now. I hated him throughout my childhood. Yeah, that's something to say because he was the cousin I just did not want to be around.
Yeah. I mean, you have kids. You either accept that or you run from it. And if you're willing to accept that, then props to you.
Yeah, he gives quite a bit to those kids, and I got mad respect for him for that. He said I gave up dating to. Well, I didn't give up dating. I just got married. Now I got a kid. And it's fantastic, even though I didn't plan that kid. I had no planning for the kid, but fantastic. Too much disappointment. Yeah, tell me about it. So, yeah, I've got my wife. I think the first time I really screwed up with my wife the first time we talked.
Yeah.
Over there, we were at a farmer's market. I was with my mom, which was running one of the stalls. She was with a company that she was working with, running another stall. I went over there with this express intent to flirt with her, right? So I got over there. I started asking questions. I want to be covert, sort of flirty, but covert. I got this great plan out in my head. So I go over there and I start asking her some questions. And immediately after I asked the second question about the company and what they're all about, her guy coworker butted in and just took over the entire conversation.
Yeah.
And it was like, crap. That didn't work. That sucked.
He slipped in.
I fell flat on my face, and that was the end of it, because I was in a conversation that I didn't care about, and I wanted to get out as fast as possible. No, but after that, she did talk to me after that, and I just spilled everything. I said, this is what I believe. Boom, 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 boom. If you don't believe that, we have nothing in common.
Yep.
This is what the Bible says. Homosexuality is wrong. And that's not something that's politically accepted.
No,
but I've had people, I basically listed out everything that was a relationship killer in the past. That people would just say, no, I don't want to deal with you. And I figured if she made it through that, we could talk about going out. And she made it through.
Nice.
And actually, it kind of impressed her. So, I got winning points after failing flirting so badly. And I am an introvert. I'm not good at that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know how to do any of that stuff. So I'm just like hoping for something to stumble along my way.
Yeah.
Show off my sick knife tricks, and all of them will fall in love.
Or you just lose some fingers. I don't know. I've seen your knife tricks.
Have you seen the most recent one I did?
Yes, I saw all your videos you posted, dude.
I'm very proud of them.
I know you're very proud of them, but I'm looking saying, oh, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 chances to get it wrong.
Yeah?
Don't screw it up.
Yeah, this one's a plastic blade, but I'm planning on getting like an actual one sometime. Probably around like birthday, Christmas, which is October. Birthday, that is.
Don't look at me. I'm a dad. I gotta justify everything.
Yeah.
It's gotta have a reason. If I buy armor for myself, I gotta make sure I buy armor for my wife.
Of course. For me, it's pretty much my hobby at this point. Like if I'm not playing video games, I'm flipping my knife. And sometimes I do both.
Well, that kind of sucks to Cobra.
Oof.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. If someone's willing to cheat on you once, like it would be hard for me to personally like stay with that. But like twice?
No, you dump her rear end. There's no option.
Yeah, no, like that's the sort of thing where it's like
my siblings had to go through that sort of crap.
Yeah. Cheating is pretty much the worst thing you can do to someone in a dating area.
Oh, I don't know. Physical abuse, verbal abuse.
I don't know. I think that the emotional abuse of cheating is worse.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It's a hard toss-up. At least you didn't marry her.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest here. At least you didn't marry her, so you could get out. Get out while the getting's good. So, find yourself a nice girl that
won't cheat on you.
Go to church.
That too.
Go to church. Find one there. And even then, that's not a guarantee. Unfortunately.
Yep.
Not anymore.
It'd be like that.
That was 3 years ago. Okay. Well, at least you've had some time to lay over it. I mean, my first wife after we got the divorce, I was depressed for about a year. I was just out of it for about a year before I got back on my feet.
Yeah, that's got to be tough to go through. Like if someone's willing to just drop you like that. I don't think I can handle it personally.
Long story short, what she was trying to do was get me. She liked playing the victim.
Oh,
So she liked, whoa, pity is me. I've got the worst life ever. I'm just the absolute most miserable person ever, and no one else can get more victim points than I can. She wanted me to physically abuse her.
Really?
And she would do anything to get me to hit her out of anger. And I won't. So I take the vow to protect. I'm not going to freaking go against that. Heck no. So she eventually realized that part of my nature, and that's when she gave up and left.
Yep. Depends on what you mean. Do you mean openly bisexual, or do they have like tendencies, or do they like have that feeling? Because if they just are like, if they're just attracted to women, but they aren't willing to act on that, then I don't think it was right. But if they're openly like, yeah, I'm bisexual, that's great, then yeah, I would say absolutely. That's just a deal breaker.
Yeah, if we're talking about sin, and homosexuality is a sin, but we all have sinful tendencies. No matter what it is, we all have sinful temptations.
Yeah, they were open about that, he says. So yeah, it was like,
in that case, no, dump our rear end.
Honestly, like if it's everyone struggles with sin, but if you're open and accepting of it, then that implies you have a problem, and that is a deal breaker. Like if you're willing to accept a major sin like that.
Yeah, if you're a Christian, why on earth would you accept any sin as being a part of your life? I mean, or anyone that promotes it, because you are promoting them going to hell. That's what you're doing. You're promoting them drinking a poison that is going to kill them. It's going to cause them so much pain and suffering that is unimaginable as we currently understand it. And how hateful you must be to accept that. How hateful they must be to allow that. I mean, the loving thing is to say, no, that's poison. Even if they hate you for it.
Yep.
I think my transgender video is the one that got the most hate out of all the videos I've ever done.
Which what people don't think is because they see they see their gender, their sexuality as their identity. So when you say that that's what's killing you, it feels like an affront to them.
That's true. That's where the issue is when they put it as their identity. But the main thing is you are more than your sin. You do not have to limit yourself to this small identity. When you are intended to be a child of God in relationship with the Almighty Creator, yet they're willing to satisfy themselves with such a meager position.
It honestly, like there is no man or woman, no slave or free in Christ. It's the example of, hey, it doesn't matter what your identity is outside of Christ. Like, because you, as a man, you still have gender roles. As a woman, you still have gender roles. But that's not what truly matters. And that's the big difference between like transgender and like Christians, is that you think that your gender is pretty much, it's what you need to be. This is how you ought to act because you feel like it. Whereas even if you want to act differently, according to Christianity, you shouldn't, because it's not what really matters.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The
cross is really the great equalizer, because we are all equal at the foot of the cross. It doesn't matter.
It ain't no handgun; it's the cross, man.
It ain't no handgun; it's cross. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what age you are. We are all the same before the cross. And that redemption and that sacrifice and that grace is equally given to all of us for that equal opportunity. It's just a question of who will you choose to pay the penalty for your crime?
You or Jesus?
Yeah, the ball's in your court. Make your decision. But we don't have free will. It's only natural laws and genes that make us decide what to do. It's funny. Again, it's hilarious. You're making that free will, and that's why I stated that in there. Use your free will and write something.
Honestly, that kind of comes down to I think, therefore I am.
Yeah.
Like, I have free will? Well, I'm contemplating free will. It seems kind of self-defeating to think that I wouldn't. That's why I can't get behind. That's why I think like hyper Calvinism is somewhat of a joke. Like, God predestined you to not think you were predestined or whatever. It's just a strange thing.
I still have my problems with Calvinism.
Yeah, I mean, some Calvinists
take everything to a logical conclusion.
Yeah.
And once you do that, Calvinism doesn't look like
God made
what
you.
Paul was teaching.
Yeah, I mean, there's like compatibilist. I think compatibilism is what they call it, where it's both like God puts you in the situation, but it's still you choosing it. Yeah.
I think there's a bit that plays at that.
Yep. It's no problem, Risky.
Absolutely. That's kind of the point where we're here.
Yeah. We're just here to talk. We're here to have a good time with everyone.
Yeah, and I guess, whenever I was going around and it was like homosexuality was being pushed as being a good thing, transgenders being pushed as being a good thing, and I'm walking around as a Christian, I'm like, man, I hear them pushing this really loud in my ears all the time. Am I the only one that says, no, this isn't right? We're going down a bad path.
Especially once you look into stuff like the suicide rate of transgender people, like even under, if you want to say like, hey, the only standard of life is human happiness, then being a transgender is a poor decision. Because even in the most accepting countries, there's still like a 40% suicide rate.
Yeah, that's it. And what's so crazy about that is that's not comparable to anything else except for one group. Jews during the Holocaust had equal suicide rate.
Yep.
Well, that and the mentally ill.
It's because it is gender, but that's because like gender dysphoria is an illness and it can be treated, I believe.
Yes, gender dysphoria is an illness. It can be treated. We have the treatment. They just banned the treatment because they want to reclassify it. It's the same thing they're doing
what kind of treatment did they have? Just like therapy, or did they have medicine?
Therapy. Mostly therapy. Most kids that have gender dysphoria when they're younger grow out of it.
Yeah.
If it's naturally given the course.
I saw a similar thing, like homosexuality, where like something they talked to 16-year-olds and like something like 70% of 16-year-olds who identified as gay by the age of 18, they weren't. Yeah, Coda.
You grow up, you figure out what the flip's going on.
Yeah, when you're like, I'm 17 right now. I can look back a year from now and say, okay, I was insane back then. I remember hearing about that. I was, I haven't seen it or anything, thankfully, because I got like a warning from like people. So I just really haven't been online at all today.
No, there's a lot of people that do that sort of thing. And it's like their final cry for help. They want to get attention there at the end. Definitely in the society that we are very focused on the clickbaity and the attention grabby. And if you're not part of the center of all the attention, then you're not worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the outcomes of that. Really is.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it comes down to, again, like homosexuality is primarily a race thing. Like you may be more predisposition towards it because you were like genetically, I'm pretty sure there's something like it's only like 20% or something that I remember the statistic was like, where it's like 80% of behavior is like because you're raised a certain way, and there's only like 20% of people have like the predisposition genetically.
Well, if you look at just what's going on around the world, if you're looking at like transgender, if it was classified as a mental illness, we'd be looking at an epidemic that would make the coronavirus look like a pathetic little wimp.
I don't know. I think there's more people infected by corona than there are transgenders.
I don't know. Definitely with these kids being grown up this way.
Yeah.
I mean, you got cross-dressing drag queen kids being put on display for gay men.
Yeah, did you see that article I posted?
No, but I am well aware of it, unfortunately. That was our first video with Gen Z, and he didn't want to go political. And it's like, okay, this is what we're talking about. He's like, crap.
He's out of here.
Or he goes out every time.
Deal with theology or what?
What?
Does he just like to deal with theology or what?
He prefers to deal with theology itself.
That makes
He's
sense.
going to have an acting career in the future. So
yeah,
respect his decisions.
Can't be too open.
Yeah, well, I'm completely open.
Yeah.
Honestly, no, it's wrong. It's bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Eventually, in like 50 years, when people start looking back at us, they'll think we're freaking nuts.
Oh, yeah.
That or we're seeing the fall of the...
Like, I can't wait till we're the boomers.
Well, I don't know if America will survive that long. Just because, looking back at history, acceptance of extreme sexual corruption is the hallmark of a fallen government.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of the aspects that led to Rome's decay.
Yeah.
There are, again, a lot of things going on. It's just a warning sign that's saying, hey, we're going down a bad path. We're going down this level, and I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. That's why I got those things. And why I got this thing. So.
Oh, could you pull up the most recent comment real quick?
There you go.
Yeah, I think though, like, because I see this going on too much, it's like you do you and all that, but
that was actually. Go ahead.
That's one of the most callous things you can do, because of all the things that I would say, I think the most often thing is that people don't want to come to Christianity because there's restriction on sexuality. Like, because they can't have multiple wives, because they can't, like, just go around with whores. It's just, there's no premarital sex at all. And I think that even just homosexuality, by supporting that, you're getting people to engage in a practice that is probably it's probably the hardest to get into Christianity, because you don't want to give that up.
Yeah, like any habitual sin, it is addicting.
Yeah,
it really is. It's an addiction. Now, as far as the whole "you do you, I do me" thing,
yeah,
as long as we don't do each other,
we're supposed to care about people. We shouldn't say "I don't care what you do," because we're supposed to care about them.
That was my attitude originally towards homosexuality. That was my attitude, and then I read the Bible, and I was like, "Oh, I was wrong." Like I said, I'm on this journey with you guys, learning about God, learning about His presence, and that kicked me in the butt when I actually sat down to real deep study. And that's actually one of the first videos that I released on this channel, was my deep study on that. And I tried to be clear with originally my stance was not where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can't be passive. You really can't. When someone is going to hell, the only way you can be passive is if you're cold to them. And that's not what we're called to be. Even sociopaths.
Prefer if you are hot or cold, but because you are lukewarm, I will spit you out of my mouth.
That still scares the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of those, like, leaning towards salvation.
So
I think more less required. I think it less applies to more lukewarm Christians and more to people who are saying, like, Jesus, maybe, I don't really care.
It's one of the ways to heaven. My butt. Okay, hit the like button if you haven't yet. Someone's already hit the dislike button. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. We've been talking about some rather interesting topics.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, I do got 2 new subs since we started, so that's fantastic. Okay.
All right. Regarding the strict rules of Christianity. Yeah, well, let's get these two last things here. Let's just say we're going to finish up with those. We got regarding the strict rules of Christianity, the weights God give us to carry are not heavy. To some people, they may seem so, because if you're willing, because sexual immorality is incredibly addictive. So if you've already immersed yourself in that addiction, then it would actually be somewhat of a heavy weight.
And if that is part of your identity and who you are,
if you're willing to give it up, then the weights aren't heavy. I would say there's the initial cost, but after that, the yoke is light.
I think C.S. Lewis wrote so well about this in the weight. What's the Weight of Glory? I think it was Weight of Glory.
Really, I haven't read that.
Oh, dude, right? Read some C.S. Lewis, man. I am one that firmly believes that he had the gift of prophecy and teaching.
Really,
in his writings, they are so deep. Oh, but his in the Weight of Glory, he explains our earthly desires as that we are nothing more than children, not because our desires are so great and overwhelming, but that they are so weak and pathetic that we are willing to compromise ourselves on such mundane things as we play with sex, with greed, with pleasures of this world. If we knew what the Lord really had for us in heaven, it would overshadow everything. So far beyond our comprehension as a young lad who is busy making mud pies in the slum cannot imagine what is meant by a holiday at the beach. I love C.S. Lewis.
Honestly, I'm really just excited to meet like cherubim and seraphim. Just because I like the Ring of Eyes concept, because I'm very into like Lovecraft and all that.
Very interesting. Yeah, they some crazy explanations of what they are. And I think the issue is,
I know a lot of it is symbolic, but still.
I think a lot of it's symbolic, even just trying to explain what these things were from a linear, human limited standpoint. Like, what would if I was a one-dimensional being, what would a three-dimensional object look like to me?
Yeah, exactly. You're going all 7D and all that.
Yeah.
And let's see.
The Cobra's got another one.
And yeah, when you talk about God in school, like people like to say, like, we aren't currently oppressed. Let's be honest here. We aren't oppressed, but we are quieted. People don't like to hear what we have to say.
Well, I don't know. Some schools do ban the Bible.
Really?
Can't bring in the Bible. Although they will teach evolution as being purely scientific fact, although it is nothing more than a scientific theory.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll teach it as if this is rock solid.
Don't they still teach like Darwinism or neo-Darwinism?
It's neo-Darwinism.
Yeah,
it's
isn't that far still like denied by most contemporary like evolutionary theorists?
I don't know. Have you ever read Darwin's original thesis?
No.
I have. And it's nothing like what they're teaching nowadays. He would have laughed at what they're putting forth.
Oh, yeah?
He taught a very gradual adaptation over millions of years to lead into these different types of species. Now, because that's not what we see in the fossil record, what we see in the fossil record are sudden jumps. Like suddenly there's a new species here. And again, that comes with an assumption that I think is false, which is that all those layers actually mean a certain time zone. Mm-hmm. When I look at volcanic eruptions, you get all those layers in about 15 minutes.
Fair enough.
And they call it those layers are supposed to represent millions of years. And I'm like, no, that happened in about 15 minutes. So.
And yeah, with tectonic plates shifting, I could see like volcanoes forming everywhere and just slowly keep covering them up.
So I don't know. I think carbon dating is an extremely flawed process. Yeah. I think that they don't have actually an. I do a lot. I am a test engineer, basically.
Yeah.
I do a lot of testing. I do a lot of endurance testing. I need to have a point of reference. They don't have a point of reference, which is what annoys me about carbon dating.
Yeah.
Point of reference. And I need to do a video about that where I go actually in depth and I tear it apart and show you each.
Yeah, I would like to.
Why I
don't know too much about carbon dating.
I do believe in early Earth. I'm not married to it, but I do believe that the Earth is much younger than what scientists claim. In fact, I think we see that a lot more with the migration of humanity, that the Great Ice Age was much closer, just based upon how humans developed. So are there anything else you want to grab real quick before we go? I know I went on a tirade about that, but yes, they do shame the Bible out of the church. The Bible in the school is something that really ticks me off with the whole concept, because they use the concept of separation of church and state. Where in the Constitution is that? Nowhere. Where in the Declaration of Independence is that? Nowhere. You know where you find it? One freaking letter from one of our founding fathers to a black pastor in, I think it was Connecticut, where he said that there's going to be a separation between the state and the church in reference to the state not ordering the church to do anything. The state is not going to tell you what to teach, because they came, again, context matters. They just came from from England. What the English church do? The English church was basically ruled by the monarchy. So they're saying, no, you don't have to worry about it. You can teach whatever you feel the Lord is leading you to teach. We, as the government, are not going to infringe upon you. But yet, a lot of politicians twist that on its head and say, well, you can't use religion in any sort of form of government.
Of course.
When, of course, we are founded on Christian principles. The concept of inalienable human rights comes from the Bible.
Oh, yeah. You read the Declaration of Parents. It's these we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all humans have inalienable rights given to us by our Creator.
Yeah, there's no way to separate that out. You can't take God out of that without having it fall apart. Because if you take God out of that, then by what authority are these rights given? Well, the government.
No longer self-prevalent, because you look at it and it's like, why do we have human rights? It's because we like them. That's about it.
Universal. It's all, and we believe that it's for everyone. Everyone has these rights, not just the Americans. And the government is not structured because they give you the rights. They just say they're not going to screw with the rights.
Yep.
They say those are already given to you by God. We're just not going to mess with them. So, that's my tirade on that. I know that was a bit long-winded.
That's fun.
It's just something that's always annoyed me.
Ooh, I like this. Let's go with this final one. Why aren't you a preacher, your brother in Christ?
Why am I not? Am I not?
He's just
I live stream every week. I go on every Sunday. Hopefully after most churches are already complete, so I give you a little bit on top of that. A lot of history, a lot of cultural context that a lot of churches don't really apply. Some history after the apostles, some of those sort of history that most people miss. I mean, one of the questions I've addressed, and I need to make a video on this, is baptism, right? Baptism or sprinkling with water, do those count? And the question is, if I look back at the old church, they were dealing with something very similar with baptism, except they were talking about living water versus dead water. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means either it's a river or it's a pond. Which baptism counts? Well, the answer is both. So it's the act that is more about. Now, I prefer full baptism. I prefer full immersion, just because it's fully representing it. But
one thing that I find strange is infant baptism.
Infant baptism only matters if you believe that baptism is required for salvation. And basically, you're making sure those kids are saved.
I mean, even then, you still have like the age of accountability.
Yeah, it's not biblical. I gotta say, it's not really biblical.
More of a safeguard than a biblical commandment.
Yeah, I don't believe baptism is required for salvation. I believe that's a choice that we make. We are publicly declaring that, hey, I'm following Christ. But
I feel like it's more of a how do you put it? Continue on. I'll try and formulate my thought real quick.
Well, I was hoping to wrap it up here. I met Pastor. Yes, I've not actually taught. I've taught at churches as far as at kids service. Actually, I did kids service for like 9 years. I taught kids service 7 through 11. I
think it's kind of like, yeah. You go ahead and I'll wrap it up with what I think.
So okay. Appreciate the work. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming again every Sunday. I'm also doing Tuesdays. Obviously, we're doing it like a chat like this, which is just free going. I really don't come in here with any sort of plan. It is just I sit here and I address questions and I talk with you guys. And anyone from the Apologetic Empire Discord server can jump on here and talk with us. We like spotlighting some of the ministries that we're doing. Unfortunately, no one really joined me from any of the ministries other than Gen Z for 10 seconds and then popped out. I didn't have enough time to spotlight his. But other than my ministry, of course, I always spotlight my wife's because, hey,
you gotta do it. You might as well.
I don't want to get in trouble.
You might as well throw Gen Z's channel into your comments there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Why don't you give your final thoughts and then I'll pull that up.
Yep. Baptism, I think, regardless if you think it saves or not, you should do it. Like, it's a clear commandment that you should be baptized. So why wouldn't you do it?
I do agree with you on that. Again, I don't think it's salvation, but I think it's a good thing to do. Again, I think it's a public declaration of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Where the heck is this channel? But again, I've been baptized. I wasn't baptized until I was like 16. Because my parents believed that it was my choice to make. Mm-hmm. It was my decision. And I had to decide if I was going to follow Christ or not. And that was after the year of study, which I studied other religions and understood them a bit better and was able to decide, yes, I want to follow Christ. So, yes, I came to all these conclusions on my own. That's something a lot of people don't get whenever I'm talking to them. Is they're like, oh, you're just regurgitating whatever you've been taught. I'm like, no, I have studied these things extensively.
You ain't no casual Muslim.
I ain't no casual Muslim. Here is Gen Z's channel. Go ahead and put it down there.
Ooh, I like those like ratios.
Yes, very much so. I like the I have the add-on for YouTube, which is vidIQ. It allows me to know a lot of information that goes on with other channels as well as my own. And it helps with the tags and stuff and getting the searches down.
Yeah.
Okay. No plan. Jesus said that he has the right words for us to speak. Yes, actually the Holy Spirit does, but yes. Well, I'm just saying in my own human ability. I'm coming in here without a plan saying, okay, Lord, just use me. I got no clue what I'm doing, but I'm diving in here and hundreds of people can watch this. And
what's the plan? Wing it.
What's the plan? Let the Holy Spirit guide it. That's all the plan it is. I love the pastor I grew up under. His philosophy was God's in control. The Holy Spirit will move. I'm here to facilitate it, and I'll just get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we're going to go ahead and end with the obvious baby distraction one more time for those of you that weren't here for it. And then I will say adieu and good night to all you fine ladies and gentlemen. So you guys have fun. Thank you, Space, for joining us. I greatly appreciate it.
It's always fun.
So here we go. As soon as I remember what button to push. Yeah.